been living in this place now for, I don't know, coming up to a year, something like that. Go inside and we'll have a look. I've got high-speed internet, which comes in down here. 10 meg up and download internet through there.
Funnily enough, even the people on the off-grid communities, even the ones that live in the sheds, in the bush, in the nowhere, they're still online. No matter how feral a person wants to go, not many of them will go without their phone.
In an era where we're more closely connected than ever, more and more people are choosing to disconnect entirely. Living off the grid means living with no connection to the power grid or water mains. Most choose to remain connected to the internet, with thriving communities of off-gridders sharing stories and tips on social media. One Australian Facebook group has over 20,000 members. I wanted to visit some off-gridders I met online to find out what it means to live off-grid in a digital world. My first stop was the Central Coast, about 1.5 hours outside of Sydney.
I am terrified of this road.
It's manageable.
Can you get there in a Volkswagen Polo? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jill Vaughan and I live on the Central Coast off-grid. Most people are envious, intrigued and are dreaming of one day. Everybody thinks it's very romantically, oh, you know, that's so cool and you're saving the planet. And I'm like, well, no, I'm just saving myself a power bill.
How long have you been living off-grid for?
As of tomorrow, 21 years. So, yeah, considerable time.
So tomorrow's your anniversary?
Anniversary, yeah, 1997 when we moved here. Big truck of gear, a couple of kids and an old generator that didn't want to start on the first day. We were on the northern beaches in Sydney and I decided that that wasn't necessarily a great place to raise a couple of very active boys, and we decided to go and live somewhere a little different.
Jill and Barry run a guest house and function space on their property, both completely off-grid.
When we moved here, I stood at the kitchen window and my son was standing next to me and a rainbow came down through the trees and landed straight onto the ground right outside the window, and he said to me, "Hey Mum, look, you can reach your rainbow." Oh, sounds like a good name. That's what we stuck with.
To generate power for both the main house and the retreat, they've had to make big upgrades to their system.
We went from having a little 2 kilowatt inverter that was very small, and then less than 1,000 amp hours of batteries, and as I said, the panels. Since then we've jumped another step and we've added, as solar panels have become far more available, we've added a lot more solar panels to the point now where we're up to 12 kilowatts of panels. I'm looking, 7 kilowatts of panels. I just got a heads up from my husband there. 7 kilowatts of panels and a beautiful new inverter that is a 4.5 kilowatt inverter that is also the charger, so it's all incorporated, and it monitors everything, and we check it with a laptop so we can keep track of what's going on, and it looks after the batteries and the gear much more effectively. And our piece de resistance just recently was new sealed lead acid batteries, 3,000 amp hours of those. Now the system just runs like a dream.
The batteries go to this inverter and that sends power out to the whole place. Just 240 volts. You're probably looking at about $36,000 for a set of batteries like that.
Mm-hmm.
We managed to buy them from a battery recycler and pay $190 each, so that we could buy this entire shebang kit for $6,000. We've upgraded to having a coffee and a kettle, electric kettle, which is awesome. A small electric kettle, but a kettle nonetheless. So we don't have to be quite so worried about anything. People think you have to have a little teeny tiny gas run fridge, and you have to live in a shed, and you can't have a normal sized TV, and a lot of people think that to be off grid is you are living almost a shed caravan style life where you're living very, very, very minimalist. And people just have this concept that you can't have less and still be okay. Like it terrifies them to think that they can't plug unlimited appliances into plugs. I mean, if there's a PowerPoint, they think it's endless. But it is quite a stretch for people to take themselves from, I'm just connected by this cable, this wonderful, thing that hooks up to there, and there's no consequences other than a piece of paper with a great big number on it every quarter. Let's be honest, the internet's made information more possible, like it's more accessible. So that's the big thing. That's the one thing I think the internet has done, is it's opened information up to everyone. Social media, I think, has opened the doors to a lot of people. The off-grid Facebook pages and so forth are full of people not off-grid and not even necessarily with a view to going off-grid soon, but they're literally exploring the option. They're exploring the experience and what people are doing, and they're looking and seeking information, which I think is a great thing. Everyone says, I want to do that. I want to live like that too, and I'm like, well, do it.
It's easy for someone who's been living that way for 2 decades to say, just do it. But I wanted to see what life is like for someone newer to living off-grid.
Roughly, the day service books in Ketsa early. Ketsa booked for the 12:01 carriers.
So I travelled south to Kangaroo Valley to meet a family who've gone off-grid more recently.
These are new. These are what happens when they're new layers.
See how long it is?
I know, and she's randomly dropped it. Hi, I'm Nat, and this is Beck.
I'm Beck.
Nat and Beck live on an off-grid property with their kids, cats, and a lot of chickens.
We moved out here in November 2017. We moved out before we bought it. We rented for about 2 months, and then all the sale went through. So yeah, it sort of became ours in January, which is pretty exciting. We had been renting a house in Culburra, which is a beachside suburb, and it just wasn't working out. So we had a bit of money and thought, okay, let's go and see what's available. And we'd been out this way to go geocaching, and there was a lot of crap around for the price that we were looking at. And then we drove in here and we're like, this is amazing. And then, Beck was sort of saying, this is off-grid, and I'm like, what's that?
Like Jill and Barry, Nat and Beck run a guest house on their property to bring in income. They advertise it on Airbnb as Rainbow Cottage, an off-grid experience.
The process was actually pretty simple in the actual setting up the Airbnb account. Both of us already had one actually because we used it as travellers. Setting up the cottage was a bit interesting. This was always the idea for this, but what had happened was this ignorance of living off grid and the solar and the batteries, and we were told that this was this is like a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, you'll be able to do anything you like on it. However, the batteries were dead within 3 months. So we didn't actually have any power down here. So it took us till June to get it on to actual Airbnb and to get it up to a standard as well, because it looked pretty good, but when you look at things closer you go, oh, that's really gross. Like the oven took Beck, I think, 2 weeks. It was just
the bathroom tiles.
And we were lucky enough we had some beautiful grey nomads, which are like a travelling women, come and stay with us, and they painted it for us. So they put their love into it as well, and then it was setting it up how we wanted it. So yeah, and it's been a really interesting experience.
That was really
vital to us succeeding in the early months, that we had these travellers just staying in return for like a place to put their van.
And water
Water and power. And
which was quite funny because we ended up with no power. So,
but they really helped us through that hard teething part.
They really did, yeah.
Do you think there are still people out there who don't really understand?
Absolutely. It's probably to others what it was to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fantasy. It's a
Fairy tale.
It's like a story.
So what are your names?
I'm Mitchell.
Amelia. Tali. Bethany.
How do you guys feel about living off-grid?
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It's different to the suburbs, like in Nara or something. You only got like a house and a backyard. Here you've got a big property, and
you don't know what is the backyard. Like this could be my front yard.
Just having all the area where you can just go be yourself and separate yourself if you want, or you can go be with everyone like down here or
Finding
at the campfire.
Chickens.
Chickens.
Tali.
Swinging into life off-grid hasn't always been an easy experience for Nat and Beck and their family.
The other morning it was raining. I had no dry clothes for kids for school. The power was out. It was like, this is shit. What are we doing?
We had no wood. All the wood was wet.
No wood for the fire. No power because there's been no sun. It's just like... it was, and I've had a few moments like that. What have we done? I find those moments go pretty fast. And they're more of a look at myself and I doubt my own capabilities until you actually continue and go, oh shit, I did that. Oh, that was cool. So yeah, that's been really good as well.
After being out in the country, I wanted to know if off-grid life was possible in the city. So I headed back online and back into Sydney to find out.
This is a model of a terrace house in Chippendale, right in the middle of Sydney. It shows how the Mobbs family has changed their house in order to live more sustainably. Solar panels on the roof generate more power than the family needs. The panels have reflectors on them to maximise the amount of solar energy they capture. All water used in the house is collected from rain on the roof.
There's no magic to this or me. I'm just doing in the city what millions of people do in the country every day. Hi, I'm Michael Mobbs, and I live in Bondi. I had lived in my house for 40 years, and I felt as though I was becoming a bit of the furniture, and my life was draining from my table legs. So I moved to Bondi 6 weeks ago, and it's like I've rebooted my heart and my life. It's fabulous. It began really 22 years ago when I disconnected the house. People came to me and said, I want to do that too. I thought, okay. And I'm able to offer people design and planning approvals for off-grid projects which use rainwater and the sun to provide all their water and energy needs. The house has had over 25,000 people through it. Their first question might be, what do you do with your toilet? They're fascinated by it. And I say, I'll tell you, but you tell me what you think happens to yours. Where does yours go? And they don't know. All of the sewage, all the waste from the clothes washing machine, dishwashing machine comes to this other tank, and you can probably hear a bubbling noise. There's air being blown into that sewage. The air cleans it, it takes away the odour and the colour, and it creates an environment where bugs can live that eat all the suspended matter. And then the water is pumped back. When I flush the toilet or wash the clothes or hose the garden, the water is my recycled sewage. Generally today, if you went off grid, it's somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 if you do water, sewage, energy.
Nowadays, we have the internet and there's so much information out there for people looking to go off grid. Do you think there has been, more interest because of that?
In 1996, when I did this, the internet was a little baby. Google wasn't born until 1998. People are getting to see ordinary people doing the things we're talking about. You don't have to be special to do this. They can take a photograph of their chooks and say, I just got some chooks, or of their new plants, and share that with their friends. So there's an easy learning process now, and there's an easy sharing process. It's amazing what's on the web.
If someone came to you and said that they're interested in moving off grid, what kind of advice would you give to them before they were?
I always just come and stay. Come and stay and see what it's really like.
Know what power you use, We had a little bit of a look at our appliances, and we sold a lot of our appliances before we moved out. But, we did still think we could run a coffee machine on the batteries. But we didn't know about the surge of draw at the start and things like that, like power. You've got to know.
Just do it. There's no point living your life saying I'd like to do something, because the best way to do something in your life is to just do it. And I think that's probably the first thing that we get when someone comes to our property. I want to live like this. Oh, I would so love to live like this. And it's wonderful. I mean, we live up a 4 kilometre road and we don't have any neighbours, and it's wonderful. We keep the world out a little tiny bit, which is nice.
Okay, so that's a little roundhouse update, year on, year living off grid in it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for